Hello and welcome back to Take a Break. So today we're going to be looking at Elementary OS 6 Odin. So I will go over to that desktop now, and basically this is the nice wallpaper that we're getting on Odin. And I'm going to be running through the top 5 things that I like about this desktop, and the 5 things that are a little bit of an annoyance to me, especially sort of at this moment in time, should we say. So I'm going to switch over to the actual desktop. That's just the wallpaper, and then we'll begin. So this is what you get when you log into Elementary OS Odin. Well, apart from some of the apps that I've done, but you get this lovely wallpaper with the Pantheon desktop, and honestly this is the first thing that I really like. So the Pantheon desktop environment is fantastic. It's really clean, as you can see, sort of a nice sleek look. This is the dark theme. You can also sort of change that quite easily to a light theme. I've also got, if I go up to sort of the volume here, you can see that I've got the blueberry, they call it the colour highlighting, but again that can all be changed. So it's now very customizable. So that is definitely the Pantheon desktop is one of the things that I really like. I also really like this dock at the bottom. So you can see I've got some applications dropped onto here. Really good for launching any of these. So LibreOffice, can launch that straight from that dock as well. So I really like that dock. So that is my number 2 thing that I really like about this desktop. It hasn't necessarily been changed, but what has been changed is the fact that we've now got this nice black colour behind it, and also this nice black colour to the applications menu, the wing panel as they call it. We've got that nice black colour, and also it's not too black. So I've heard a couple of people saying this, and I thought, oh, what do you mean? Actually, it's a nice sort of shade of really dark sort of grey. So it's almost sort of a charcoal. It's not completely black. So if you have a look at it compared to the OBS logo down there, that's completely black, you can see that that's the difference that we're meaning there. So that's a really nice thing. The other thing that I've always liked about Elementary OS is the App Center, and this again takes no introduction. It's really good. It's a really nice way of showing everything. It's also pretty responsive. So you can sort of click on all these categories and it will show you apps in there. Also Flatpaks support out of the box, so there's no sort of command lines to install that. You just have to install an app from FlatHub. So that is again another really good thing that I like about this. But it does bring us on to my first bugbear about Elementary, and that is that in order to get anything particularly useful, you've got to install something from FlatHub to get that support for that full support for Flatpaks. They don't have enough curated apps yet that are really going to make a difference to your experience, and especially in terms of Office and things like that. The fact that LibreOffice isn't even a curated app is a bit of a problem in my mind for somebody that's a new user switching to this desktop, and I think that's very much squarely where they're aiming this at, and it just doesn't feel quite complete yet with the curated apps. Especially some of the apps that I know were curated even from the previous release. So like this Notes Up was a curated app from the previous release, has now gone into non-curated apps. And I think that's just because it hasn't had an update, but when it was curated in the last version, why is it not now? What's been the difference there? So I think that although there is really good software in the curated section, I think that needs a lot of work before you don't ship integration with FlatHub out of the box. I think that is an issue. The other thing that is an issue is Flatpak apps themselves. So for example, here I've got Evolution, so the email client. So if I launch that, what you'll see straight away is that it doesn't theme like the desktop. I'm just going to shut that before all my emails pop up. It doesn't theme like the desktop at all. So this is common with a lot of the sort of Flatpak apps, and it is actually a problem with Flatpak itself, with how it sort of reads that. But for example, if I bring up so KeyPass is another one that I've installed, you can see it does not respect that dark theme whatsoever. The dark menu bar at the top, because that's what Elementary's put on. The rest of it is not themed with the dark theme, and it is a problem with Flatpak itself. It is a problem that is part of sort of shipping that, but it is an Elementary problem. And I don't think anyone's actually picked up on this yet, but if we actually search Flatpak for the themes for Elementary, because that's how you theme a Flatpak app, you give it the actual theme that you are using on your desktop as a Flatpak. The only one available is a light theme. There's nothing with the dark theme. There's also nothing that respects the different colours that they're using. For example, on this Do Not Disturb with the blueberry again, there's nothing that respects that. So if you're going to ship all your apps as Flatpaks, even your sort of system apps, so even sort of the Files app, Tasks, is all shipped as Flatpaks, you need to be providing that support. These theme files are already written, they're already part of the OS. Why aren't they shipping in FlatHub? And then we'd actually get some better support for these apps. So I think that's something that they definitely need to look into and get going. I've also noticed, for example, say the Tasks app. So if I open that up, it's going to load up my nice chores for the weekend. But for instance, so this does respect the dark theme, so it respects all that. It's great. What it doesn't respect is the window. So all I've got is a maximize there. There's no minimize like I've added to all the other windows. So I don't know why that's a thing. But for some apps, for example, like that's Minder, that's supposed to be a curated app, I actually have to turn on dark theme. So I had to actually turn on the dark theme. It came as light. I had to actually turn that on in the settings. So why is that a thing? When this is a curated app, it's supposed to just work with Elementary out of the box. It's supposed to respect all those themes. Why can't it do it? Well, the answer there lies in, again, the Flatpak support and the fact that you actually have to enable this in the apps, and it's sort of an opt-in thing rather than them following the actual sort of conventions of Flatpak, which are to ship the theme as a file, as a Flatpak, sorry, that people download then with their apps, or is pre-installed on the system as a Flatpak. So I think that is a major bugbear. The other thing, if I go back into OBS and just switch over to so this is my other screen, and as you'll notice, suddenly we have no dock, we have no menu bar. Why? Why is this a thing? So why can't I use these on here? The other thing is, the only option to do anything with this is to swap them over to this screen, but then not have them on my primary display. So I don't really get that. I don't get why the dock isn't there and everything. I get that they want to keep it clean. I get that, you know, I'm using it as an extended desktop, so I suppose it is taking that very literally. But it feels like it's an odd thing. So yeah. So back to another positive though, is that support for apps, for support for hardware within the apps and everything like that is really, really good as usual. So using that solid Ubuntu base we're getting really good hardware support. So for instance, this is running on a really old iMac, so one of the nice big chunky ones that before they went super thin, and everything just worked out the box, apart from the fans, which is a known sort of Apple problem. So to be fair, really good hardware support. So I think that's a real positive for Elementary, using that solid Ubuntu base. I think it's only going to serve you well, having all that hardware support. For example, my Apple Bluetooth keyboard and trackpad clearly used to be a very Apple orientated consumer. Both of those work absolutely brilliantly, with no issues whatsoever. Just connected via Bluetooth straight away. You can see up here we've got my trackpad, my keyboard connected. So I think that's really good. What's also really good is this this thing here, which is the power. Which I thought, oh, it's brought that over from using on laptops, and it'll just tell me, it won't tell me any information, because I've had that on other distros before. But no, actually it tells me the remaining battery just as it would on a Mac. So I do find that really useful, or on a Windows computer even. I do find that really useful. So that's a real positive. The other thing that I know some people have been saying about is native display sort of scaling. So things either looking too big on your bigger display, on your smaller display, because then they're too small on your bigger display, everything like that. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to notice this problem because both my displays are the same size, and they're both HD, both 1080p. So I have no issues with that, but I do know that has been an issue before when I've used a laptop with Elementary. It's been an issue for a while. As to why it's still an issue, who knows? The other really good thing about Elementary is the multi-touch gestures. So for example, now I will swipe up with 3 fingers and we will get instantly into this multitasking view. So I can open apps here, I can go to this. So for example, if I open LibreOffice on here, I can make that full screen, and then I can switch back to my other desktop where I've got OBS minimized. But then I can switch between these really easily. I can also, instead of going into the multitasking view, swipe left or right with 3 fingers on my trackpad, and we'll go between the screens and between the new one as well. Where this works really well is if you need to sort of drop something onto another display. So I can just drag that over to my external display, which you obviously can't see, which is great. But yeah, that does work, and then it will come back as well. Again, the icons are a bit off with LibreOffice. That's another sort of little bit of a bugbear, but they work sort of down in the dock, so I don't really know why. It's probably because I haven't installed it as a Flatpak, because the lack of dock support was annoying me with that, because everything looked very white. So that's a little roundup of Elementary OS Odin and sort of some sort of bugbears that I've noticed, some things that I haven't. It feels a really polished OS, I must say, and I think that it just looks the part. So we've gone from having a really stable OS with the previous version to the same, but we've introduced a lot of new features, a lot of new support, a lot of things people have been asking for. So I think that it's a really good step forwards. I think it's only going to keep getting better, but I would really like those Flatpak bugs ironed out, because I think it's a major thing. The fact that the Flatpak support works so well, and all my apps like OBS, like Kden Live that I run through Flatpak, come up as app updates in the software center rather than the OS updates. Whereas the others come up as OS updates because it can't sort of work that out. So I would really like to see better Flatpak support for themes And I think that is my major thing at the minute that made this a bit of a shock at first. Sort of got used to it now with a lot of the apps, and I've sort of got around it by installing the dev packages, adding PPAs, that sort of thing. But I think that for a new user, when you switch on a dark theme, you expect it just to work. You expect it just to work across the desktop, and I think that that's a major breaking feature. But also, as an OS, when all your apps are shipping as Flatpaks anyway, why is this not baked in? So that's my major thing. So I'll keep playing with it. It is my daily driver, Elementary OS. Absolutely love it. I think it's a great distro with a rock solid base. And if you haven't checked it out, do go and check it out. It's really clean. It is a perfect OS to try, and I'm usually a distro hopper. I have kept on this for about 2 years now on this OS, and it's fulfilled my daily needs. So let's give them a bit of support, and let's hope that these bugs are ironed out. See you next time on Take a Break, and please like and subscribe. Let me know your opinions on Elementary OS 6 Odin, and let me know if there's anything that I've missed out on this video that you think are key features